This video will address access to records. This video is part of a series intended to explain portions of the Alabama's Procedural Safeguards Special Education Rights. This video is not intended to replace reading the entire Procedural Safeguards document. Parents must be permitted to inspect and review any education records related to their child that are collected, maintained, and used by the educational agency under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. Schools and districts must comply with a parent's request to inspect and review their child's educational records without unnecessary delay and before. A meeting regarding the Individualized Education Program, or IEP. An impartial due process hearing, including a hearing about discipline. A resolution session. And not more than 45 calendar days after the parent has made the request. The parent's right to inspect and review education records include a response from the school or district when the parent makes a reasonable request for explanations and interpretations of the records. The option to request the school or district provide copies of the records if the parent cannot effectively inspect and review the records without having copies, allowing the parent to have a representative inspect and review the records. When requested, schools or districts must provide a list of the types of education records collected, maintained, or used by the school. The location of the records must be included in the list. Schools and districts must fully inform parents by providing notice about the confidentiality of personally identifiable information. Examples of items to be included in the notice are a summary of policies and procedures the school or district must follow to store, retain, and dispose of education records. A description of the rights parents and students have under the school and district policies and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act FERPA. Parents and students over 19 years old have rights related to education records under the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA, and state law addressing the protection of educational rights and privacy of students and parents. Under FERPA and state law, when a student becomes 19 years old, the rights of the parents regarding the student's education records, including the right of consent to release records, transfer to the student. Parent consent is required before personally identifiable information is disclosed or provided to parties other than employees of the school and district. Parent consent is not required before personally identifiable information is released to officials of participating schools or districts to meet the requirement of IDEA. For example, if a student is transferring into a school from another state and the student's IEP includes school health services, parent consent is not required for a school nurse to access personally identifiable information in a student's education records to provide the school health services specified in the IEP when the student enrolls in the new school. Personally identifiable information which is protected under FERPA include the student's and parent's name or the name of a family member, the student's address, a personal identifier such as Social Security number and student identification number, personal characteristics or other information that would make it possible to identify the student with reasonable certainty. Each school or district must maintain documentation of the individuals who accessed a student's record collected, maintained, or used for education purposes, except when parents or employees of the school or district access the student records. If education records include information about more than one student, parents have the right to inspect and review only the information relating to their child. This includes being informed of specific information related to their child when a situation or incident includes more than one student. Schools and districts may charge a fee for making and providing copies of education records to the parent under IDEA, if the cost does not prevent the parent from exercising their right to inspect and review the records. Thanks for watching. This video is part of a series explaining portions of what is included in Alabama's Procedural Safeguards Special Education Rights. This video is not intended to replace Reading Alabama's Procedural Safeguard Special Education Rights. For more information about Alabama's Procedural Safeguard Special Education Rights, visit alabamaachieves.org and search procedural safeguards.